Welcome to the Black Announce Table. From the 718, right off the Deegan, the man with the silkiest do-rag, Manny. From Virginia by way of Europe, he gives his all every week. Cody Bray. Live and direct from Strong Island, the certified good you, Sky High East. You're listening to the Black Announce Table.
I like your guys' style.
Ah, yes. Boys are back, man. What can I say? With a very, very special guest.
Was that you going through the fence on that, trying to catch that basketball?
That was not me going through the fence.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That we all need one, you know what I mean?
That was his stuntman going through the fence. We needed basketball highlights, and that's all we could find.
You've seen that clip a lot. So funny you guys used it.
You should have seen the basketball highlight they used before that one. Entertainment, I must say. But if you guys are listening and not watching this, the voice sounds familiar, I'm sure. We have a special guest, Mr. Monday Night, WWE Hall of Famer, the whole effing show, Rob Van Dam.
Yes. This is Lovey. She wanted to make a quick appearance as well.
Lovey is absolutely adorable. We'll interview her next.
Happy to be here. Happy to be the whole effing show. All good, fantastic, as I told you. Don't let that one slide by you.
So out the gate, I got to ask you, how are you feeling? How are you doing? That's usually how, we start everything. But I do want to know, how are you?
Awesome. Physically, I feel great because I'm 53 and I feel like I'm 33, maybe, something like that, I've always enjoyed getting older. A lot of my friends didn't get to do that. You know what I mean? It appears. And so it's funny when people think, I don't know, can we mention how old you are? No, I'm proud of it. And I wouldn't turn around and go back in the other direction for anything. And even considering everything that, that we've lost, I love moving forward. The longer I'm alive, the better life is, the more I understand what to bring into my life and what to keep out of my life. And it's great. As long as you're always growing, you're living right, because your perspective has to change because you're looking at it from a different direction, unless you're just a basic thinker and you still think Santa's real.
Wait, hold on.
All right, we'll talk later. Damn. I did it again. I spoiled it for the girl that lived next door to me when I was a kid too.
Oh man, what a guy! Listen, I didn't know that we were gonna get into our deep bag with that. That answer was very prolific, very that's a great way to do it. Eve just celebrated his birthday, so I feel like him hearing that,
Happy
right
birthday,
now.
dude.
Thank you, man.
It's something. Sometimes you just need to hear those things. As we're getting older, I'm still in my 20s, still learning, still going through life.
Let me tell you, dude, from my perspective, I was a child until I was in my mid-40s. Whenever I think about the time period before that, before I went through this divorce and my dog died, dad died, I had to go through this big, deep depression. And it's like I rebuilt myself and had to reprogram myself. My priorities, my values changed. Well, not my values as much, not the ones, that I held on to, the ones that I liked. But wow, when I think before that, just my whole perspective of my place in the universe and everything was just so different. I feel like I was a little kid, I just had everybody doing everything for me and I didn't know how to do anything and was still repeating stuff that I heard adults say as if it was my own thoughts, and man, I love the wisdom that has come for me with age.
Yeah,
I feel great too. I mean, look at this. Can you guys see that? Whoa! Can you get that whole thing in there?
Jack City.
Boy, great. Yeah. A lot of wrestlers. I've always heard my whole career that time off is a wrestler's worst enemy. That's because they're doing it wrong. They think time off means also time out of the gym and taking it easy and being lazy. And of course, that's not good for anybody. But for me, time off, stuff that was bothering me, quit bothering me. I feel great after wrestling for over 30 years. Here I am, 53, and I feel awesome.
What else have you been up to since the last time we've seen you? I mean, the last time I remember seeing you on the big screen was at the Hall of Fame, I believe, in 2021 when you got inducted. So what have you been up to since then?
Yeah, so since then, my last several TV matches have been on AEW. The last couple were in April, and have a standby relationship with them. So whenever they've called me, it's usually been no longer than a 2-week notice, quite often shorter. And not always, but like that. When I did SmackDown a couple of weeks ago, I don't know if you saw that, but I was in the crowd there. That was the day before is when they called and said, hey, can you fly out tomorrow? And I was able to. So I never know exactly what my schedule is going to be like outside of what I do have planned. But I've been keeping busy. I still wrestle some. I do a lot more autograph appearances, and that's by design because it's cheaper to have me go there and sign autographs than it is to go there and wrestle. Because I'm not priced to go out and wrestle every single weekend like a lot of guys are that want that. And working on a lot of stuff that I've always wanted to have more time to work on, like the autobiography, and this big project that just went live this week, Only Wrestlers. We had the name, we had to do something with it. But Only Wrestlers is like, it just went live like a couple days ago, and it's like it'll be like officially ready to go after September, because we're still having wrestlers that still got to go on and set their profiles up and stuff like that. But people are signing up already, wrestlers and followers. And this is a project I've been working on for a long time, and I'll try and explain it in two separate ways. Every time I go on there, there's some new wrestlers on there. Basically, so part of it, it's a platform where people can follow their favorite wrestlers and the content that they provide for them. This is a platform to offer everyone that wants to be a creator, a place for them to handle like their own business, So it's really up to them how much they charge, what kind of content they give, how often. Very much like OnlyFans, and also like Cameo, you can do special requests and you can tip, and just like YouTube or chats, whatever. But so that's part of it. That's, I think, easier to understand. Although also the money that you spend goes towards a loyalty program. There's all kinds of perks. But the bigger part, after we get rolling, this will come into effect more, and it's designed so the more followers we have, the more power they have. See, the fans, when they follow and subscribe, they join an association, right? And they are going to vote on things that move Only Wrestlers Association forward. And eventually, when there's enough of everybody, and we've organically got to this point, we're going to be doing live wrestling shows. And the fans are going to be voting on who should wrestle who, stipulations, even sometimes like what town the wrestling company should come to, things like that. The more of them that we have, and the more people we have, the bigger it grows. Then the more power they have, the more bigger and important decisions we're going to use their influence on. But we're building a community between the wrestlers and the fans, and it's really awesome. It even grows from there. And the live shows is something that one of our partners already does. He's a wrestling promoter. Two of them, they already ran wrestling shows. Katie, my wife, used to wrestle for them. So don't think that's far-fetched, because we actually started thinking we were just going to do the live shows, have fans vote, and we decided to backtrack and like build it organically with them. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I hope so. Here's a free idea. Listen, I'm a marketer. I'm a social media manager. I do all these things. Listen, record yourself doing the stretches like you said, but instead of talking while doing the stretches, you just go back after the fact and then
Yeah,
just
I thought of that, bro.
talk over it. That
I thought of that, and I was going to use like CGI
Mhm.
to lighten up and show like exactly which muscles I was
Yeah.
targeting when I'm in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just in the big picture when I imagined watching me talk over me stretching seemed like it would detach the concentration enough to make it seem like you're watching that painter dude that paints trees.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, I know. In my head, it ended up being like that, and maybe I'll still get back to it though.
One day, maybe we'll see. I'm a man of many ideas. If you need an idea, just come to me. I got you.
Yeah, I got a few ideas for you too. A couple business endeavors, business ventures.
Awesome, I love it. I'm always that's the thing. I've always had my hand in a whole bunch of different jars. I've never been just about wrestling like a lot of my peers always have been. And really, when I got in, you had to be. I was different. Like you had to be so. Sleep, breathe, eat wrestling so much that you have to love it more than everyone else in the room. It's a sin to admit someone else loves it more than you. It was just, it was that mindset that was always drilled into us. I remember when I wrestled at Universal Studios way back in '91, and Eddie Mansfield, he was getting some of the boys into some of the TV shows that they were filming in Orlando at the time. Swamp Thing, Superboy, some shows like that. And I remember calling Sabu back in Michigan from Florida. Dude, they're going to put me in like TV shows and stuff. It's going to be so cool. He was mad at me. He goes, what are you? You an actor? Are you a movie star? Are you a wrestler?
I Sabu hate.
Now, I have a question because you said, you have to be one of those guys who you're kind of into everything. That's how you grow.
I'm a sucker for a good idea. That's to the detriment of the value of my name because I've had several failed projects and I'm completely transparent and open and honest about it. So I don't exactly have the Midas touch, every time.
But does working with a company like ECW in the 90s and stuff like that, where it was kind of a small brand, but so many people there. Like I remember there's stories about like wrestlers were the ones designing the merch and doing all these things in the business end of things. Did that help you with like today? Like because now every wrestler, if you're not on the WWE level, if you're just working certain shows here and there, you got to do you got to work on your own merch. You got to do your own promotions, build up your own face. Did that help with what you're doing now?
That's a great point. I would say the experience did help me, but I got most of my experience like years before ECW. I was never, I probably pitched an idea or two for a new t-shirt, but that wasn't my department. And mostly the boys that lived in New York, Taz, Dreamer, the Bubba, those guys worked, and they worked on promoting the towns. But I learned all that a long time ago. It was 91. Damn, was it 91 or 92? It was 91. It was 92. In 1992, I left Florida for Georgia, which is the last thing I wanted to do. I'd go back and forth. I was hitting these shows, South Atlantic Pro Wrestling up there, and a guy, Greg Price, that ended up promoting it first with Manny Fernandez, then by himself. Well, he ends up contacting me in Florida and asking me when I was like, really young, and what would it take to get you to move up here to Augusta of all towns, Augusta, Georgia? I'm like, dude, I'm literally like out at the pool right now, looking at chicks in bikinis in Florida while it's snowing in Michigan. I don't want to go anywhere. And he kept saying, I know, but there must be something that would make you do it. There must be, name what would it cost, And man, he put me on the spot. And I thought about it, and I said, I'd have to be able to pay all my bills and not have a regular job, because at the time I was bouncing, doing whatever, because I was making $35 a week at the Sportatorium in Tampa, and $50 at Universal Studios, like once a month. Anyway, I ended up, thinking, man, I'd have to. I don't know, like $500 a week. And he goes, how about 6? I was like, I'm moving to Augusta, Georgia. But while I was there, I learned that my duties weren't just about wrestling, but you'll appreciate this because you want to talk business. There was 3 of us wrestlers, Bambi, Selena Majors, myself, and Chaz Rocco, who's passed away now. And the 3 of us, when the company, which was wow, the wide, wild world of wrestling, they would book fundraising shows, high schools, armories, whatever. We would go to that town like 2 months before the event, maybe. And we would hit the whole town for sponsorships. And it was their obligation to take us around town. So, for instance, I'm at the Brunswick Police Department doing a DARE program. So a different cop would have to take me around town the whole day and be like, hey, we're doing a fundraiser. We need new police cars. This is Rob Van Dam, who wants to talk to you. It's already a done deal. You know what I mean? Because they're contributors and they support that. And then I hit them with this pitch. They're paying to buy some children's tickets, which they can have, or we'll give them to some needy kids that wouldn't otherwise be able to go with their names right on the bottom of it. Donated by. Everyone's going to get these tickets because there's a drawing at the end of the night to. And with a souvenir program that their ads are in, and all this stuff. And I, the other wrestlers didn't know, and neither did the people giving the money up. But I was taking, I was paid a commission, obviously, on the sponsorships. That was 25% of whatever they would drop. If I was at a car lot and they dropped $1,000, boom, I'm making $250 right off that. And then plus at the show, now I'm like the biggest baby face because I've been around to every business and every parent has told their children and the schools too, if I've been there, so if they didn't know me before, I'm definitely selling them. I had 3 tables of merchandise. Like it was great. I had so much stuff. I go to the dollar store and buy VHS tapes and plastic swords and ninja stars, anything. So, and if there was ever a profit at the end of the show, guess what? Boom, I got half that. And I got paid to wrestle. So when it comes to business, I had that way back in 92, 93, way before my ECW time.
Yeah. Wow. You working with a DARE program, absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Looking back at it, I was so not careful. Like they must have known that I reeked like weed every single day because I'd meet them at 9 a.m. It was an hour drive from Savannah, where I ended up living when I was working with Brunswick, and I would smoke the whole way down. And if I was early and it was 5 to 9, I would kill that 5 minutes smoking till the last minute and then walk right in there.
What a legend. Hey, kids, this is what you don't want to smell like. Trust me, unless you're trying to have a great time.
But by the way, it's worth mentioning, some people look at that as hypocrisy. And I don't think I'm a hypocrite at all. I don't think kids should smoke weed.
Yeah.
I don't think kids should have sex. I don't think they should drive. They should run our country. There's a lot of things that I think are for adults. And that's truly my belief. And I never smoked till I was 21, by the way.
Yeah. Listen, we agree at the BAT, the Black Announce Table. We all agree that you should wait until you're a responsible adult. Wait until that frontal lobe is almost developed. Really make those good decisions.
Wet cement until you're like 26, I think.
So, well, since we're on the topic of, business and all that, before you mentioned, you just wanted to be a wrestler growing up. Then you become a wrestler. Now we're talking the business side. Well, I want to know, while you were wrestling, did you ever think about life after wrestling? Like, all right, obviously I could only do this for X amount of years. You know what I'm saying? Or God forbid, I get injured or whatever. What do I do after this? Have you ever thought about that? Like, what comes after this? What can be after this?
Yeah, I have. I've always thought, and I've always been right so far, with being in touch with my pathway and knowing it and being comfortable with it. And I am wrestling longer than I probably ever thought that I would. But I see myself as it used to be, I would see myself as being a writer. And over the years, there's so many projects that I've written part of different stages of development. I've got screenplays. I've got like novels. I got comic books, and some of them are like halfway done. Some maybe 10%. Some of them I was working on with other people, and the project just got dropped. There was one that I actually rented an office on Hollywood Boulevard just to get out of the house to force myself to write. And I haven't picked that thing up in like 15 years, but I still think someday I will. And the thing is, like, I used to have the kind of pressure that I know a lot of people put on themselves where, you know, like, man, this is so good. Like, I gotta get it out. People are going to love it. And man, I really want to accomplish this thing. It means a lot to me. Boom. I want to have my autobiography done because I don't want someone else telling my stories. They all tell it wrong. Every time I hear people talking about me, it's important to me. However, I'm also comfortable with the fact that if I get shot tonight and go down and my autobiography doesn't come out, no harm done. I feel like I've done a lot getting up till this point. I've accomplished quite a bit, especially because, you know, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was a kid dreaming of being on the other side of the TV. So I'm still the real person. You know, people will look at, oh, you made the worst mistake when you got busted with weed and you were you could have been the greatest champion ever. That's like saying, oh, if only I would have liked football instead of wrestling, I would have made more money. You know, we can't, if you can't do anything about it because it's already happened, it's better to not worry about it. And so I do have a lot to accomplish still in my mind. So I plan on being alive a really long time. And I plan on, and maybe it won't be just writing, because now, you know, I got a little carpal tunnel, my little nerve damage maybe in my fingers. My fat fingers seem to hit 3 keys at the same time. You know, it might be a different platform, but I'm enjoying sharing stories like on my podcast and on my YouTube. I do something called RVDology, where I talk about my personal values that are consistent, that you're not going to find me straying from. And they're what I've learned to build myself into a person that I want to be.
No, that's amazing. You know, hopefully you live a very long and fruitful life. We all do. Your autobiography, it's gonna have so many pages because of that. You know,
yeah, no, for sure.
And doing so many things.
For sure, yeah, and it ain't even over yet. But that's a fact. And so there won't be. It's memoirs, stories from all over that I remember, and I can definitely already put number 2 and number 3 together without having to think too far, just stuff that I didn't put in there. Some of the stuff, most of it that I've done, that I put down, nobody's heard any of these stories. And that's what interests me, is telling stories where people will be like, whoa. And, you know, I personally, like, my go-to is mafia history. Like, I'm into the La Cosa Nostra, the Italian mafia. And like every once in a while, I'll hear a story that puts 2 guys in the same place at the same time. And that fascinates me. And I realize a wrestling fan would feel the same way if you realized, you know, when I was this young, Abdullah the Butcher was at my very first wrestling match. And he sat down in a wooden chair and it collapsed. And I was trying so hard not to laugh. It was so damn funny, but I didn't want to be disrespectful.
Listen, one thing I've noticed from what you've been saying so far and through your career is that you're a fan of storytelling. You love and you've had so many big rivalries, so many big, moments in wrestling. And a lot of people with your style nowadays, they put all the effort into having the flashiest moves and not really telling a story in the ring. So with that being said, like what's the key to being a great storyteller while also having a moveset like yours that's so versatile?
Okay. See if you can follow me with this, okay? Wrestling is porn, right?
All right. Let's lock in.
People watch it to escape. They want to believe in everything that they're watching. They don't want to look at it like it's a production. They want to invest their emotions into the moment, and the better the players are and the more committed that players are, the more it comes across as a desirable experience for the watcher. All it takes is one time some guy being thrown into the corner, and then he's just staring at his opponent and then moves out of the way like 2 minutes too early and leaves the guy running into the corner like a dumbass. That's the equivalent of the director's shadow going over the tits of the girl laying in bed and him saying, I need you to scream a little louder. The whole moment is killed.
That might be the greatest analogy because it makes so much sense.
If wrestlers would look at it that way, it would change the business. I remember when Sheik trained me and I was really young, and like he just like boom, he just like started choking me in the corner to see what I would do, and I'm like, I grab his hands or whatever, and then he's like, that's good. He goes, a lot of people they just stay and they just like freeze. He said, try and get out of my grip, try and push me back or try and bend my elbow, work at it. And he said, don't ever stop moving. And Sheik and Sabu taught me, once you go through the curtain until you go back, you got to be in the mindset that all eyes are on you, and that's what's missing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir right now.
That's the RVDology right there, man.
It is.
That's the RVDology right there. Speaking of storytelling, you've worked with a man who just recently went to the Hall of Fame, Paul Heyman. He's worked with a ton of world champions, including yourself, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns. What do you think it is about Paul that brings out the best in people?
I think that it's his gift, his mentality, his perspective that's unique from the way that he focused all of his energy since he was a little kid. It's been a long life to get where he's at. In 2001, when ECW broke into WWE with the invasion angle, Paul was the only one that understood me and had my best interests in mind. Mm-hmm. And he would be in the office with the other agents, and they all thought he was crazy. And he had to really fight to keep everything in the ECW as authentic as we could. And he would say a lot of times, well, I got them. They want to do like 10 really stupid things. I'm going to get them to not do 7. 3 of them we're going to have to live with. And it was like that. And I know he was always pushing for me to be the guy, And I know they didn't all want to hear that either. There was pushback against that. So for him to eventually stick to his guns and make it through that to where all the talent started coming up to him for advice and asking him his opinion on stuff. And I just saw the respect that he was getting in the WWE universe. Mm-hmm. And I saw that growing while I was there. And I was so glad, grateful for it. He deserved it. And now I think everybody sees him as a genius.
Yeah, it's one of those things where even now I feel like it's been the past like 7 or so years where even the WWE, everybody who called him wrong at some point, they're like, yeah, looking back, we probably should have let him do more. Like he was kind of right about everything. And it's like, it kind of sucks.
Literally everybody calls him a genius for real.
Yeah.
We're counterculture that kind of can also transform to being niche,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a good thing when you're trying to draw mainstream numbers, but sometimes it is better. And sometimes you win over the majority. I don't think Paul changed that much. I'm sure he made some adjustments that he had to, but he's always been great at teaching us what our strengths are and also maybe what our weaknesses are.
Right. One night stand for me when you face John Cena, that's one of my favorite wrestling moments ever. Like I remember being a little kid, I'm watching that. I'm in my aunt's house and we're sitting there watching this. Like, this is amazing. By the way, I was a big fan of you and Cena, so I was very conflicted at the time. So I want to know, like, did the feeling at One Night Stand bring back that feeling that you had when you were in ECW proper, like in the 90s? Because you spent all that time in between in the WWE between One Night Stand and ECW?
Dude, as soon as ECW was brought back, oh man, my vibration changed so much. But in the bigger picture, which we only have the bigger picture tomorrow, not today. We always can only see as much as we can right now, but the picture always gets bigger, down the road. And looking at it, it was always a cycle for me of being motivated and then being demotivated. I didn't want to go to WWE when I did in 2001. There was nothing else left. He bought in ECW, WCW, like there wasn't any. If I wanted to be a full-time TV wrestler in America, the only place to go was WWE, and Paul was already there. So I kind of felt like, who knows what they're going to call me or do with me. And I kind of had that, like it wasn't that, but I was like, let's make the most of it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And then I had no idea I was going to be representing ECW. Like Tommy Dreamer was there, threw me an ECW shirt. We're coming in representing ourselves. Now we're adding depth to our past instead of erasing it. I was so happy to be there as who I've put all this effort and energy into building. And then, that lasted so long, and then it was gone. And then I was all right. And then when we had the hardcore title and I was a hardcore champion, all of a sudden I'm having like ECW style matches again, and just me on the card, standing out by bringing in the chair and stuff. That was so fun and so awesome. But I made the belt mean too much. I was main eventing the live events, and they never wanted that, so they retired the belt. And pretty soon I'm unmotivated again. I talked Paul or Vince into doing the ECW one night stand. I was so excited. And then, of course, my leg is injured and I'm not going to be able to wrestle on it. Then come back again. Bro, when I had that match with Rey Mysterio on SmackDown, the first ECW versus SmackDown, I was my old self. I was like, man, I'm out here just to show up, not to scramble and try and get everything I can in before the end of the time limit on live TV. But I was just like able to feel the vibes, be myself. I felt indestructible that night that I wrestled Cena. I just felt like there was no anything that was going to hurt me. I still didn't believe that the end of the night was going to happen that way until it actually did. But that's me not allowing myself to believe it because it's not real until it actually happens. I mean, every time I go to jump up to the top rope, I don't know that I'm going to land it. And every once in a while I do slip, but every time I jump up there, I'm like, I got it again.
Now, to follow up with the one night stand pay-per-view card, that was when you faced John Cena, it was one of the most hostile environments in like this century of wrestling, where John Cena went in there and I couldn't find a person in that crowd that was cheering for him when he was there. Have you ever been on a receiving end of a crowd like that? And what did it feel like to even be that loved and embraced by that many people in one setting?
Indescribable, really. I mean, no, there's never been a crowd exactly like that. I have seen crowds boo John Cena. I think it was Wales the first time I saw that. And what a professional John was. He got on the mic and was just like, that's great. That's great that you want to express yourselves. I don't mind if it's boo or cheering, as long as you're out there having a good time. He just like turned the people around and they were cheering for him. And I was like, wow, that guy knows what he's doing. He's not just filling a spot on the card, he knows how to do this game. And, the fans were so great. And why it was so awesome is it was vindication for me sticking to my guns and following my own beliefs, sticking to my own values through, by that time, 15, close to that anyway, years of people trying to change me.
Right.
And I ain't gonna lie, hearing this is crazy. But I do, because you spoke just now about how good it felt and how you felt free, like working the ECW. What was the most I don't want to say the most free you've ever felt, but just a match where you went out there or whoever you faced, you just went out there and it just felt effortless, like you went out there, the chemistry was perfect. the match was sweet. You didn't have to worry about time or anything like that. You just went out there and put on a banger and didn't have to think about it.
Well, I mean, overall, I'm not known for having bad matches.
I can't name one if I tried. I'm telling you.
Sick, buddy.
So, I mean, I usually am able to find a match, of chemistry to tell the story. It's not always a good thing if it's so easy, and sometimes when we really don't like each other, it actually could bring out a better match. My matches with Jerry Lynn back in ECW were standard setting, but we weren't even friends at the beginning of it. We didn't even know each other. He was cool in my book just because he was a second degree of Kevin Bacon friend through Scotty Anton, to Scotty Riggs. But, and when me and Eddie weren't like really tight or anything, and Eddie Guerrero. And traditionally, when you got into a fight with a wrestler, if that ever happened backstage, usually the promoter puts you in the ring and makes you work it out, because then you got to work together. And it usually does move everybody past that. So I'm used to seeing that, and I had to work with Taz right away, and I wasn't surprised, because that's what you do after we had a little bit of a beef. But I think about, sometimes, like when I wrestled The Undertaker, I wouldn't even talk to him, wouldn't say one word, didn't need to. And in the live events, the house shows, you don't have that live TV time restraint, where boom, we're going off the air whether you're finished with your match or not. We got to go. And that way you can like play off the crowd more at the live events, and it's more relaxed. And I wrestled The Undertaker for on the loop for several weeks, and we had cage matches and stuff, and there was no need to say anything. I mean, I kind of knew how it was going to end up. And during the match, we just went out there like veterans, and it was super easy. I don't know if I would list those among the best matches that I ever had, but they definitely weren't bad matches, and didn't need any, any kind of preparation. Just my stretch out, I'm ready to go.
I feel like I remember you selling a tombstone where you basically went bouncing off the mat at one point. So
that and the RKO.
Yeah, you're a great seller. Listen, amazing.
That's a Tommy Dreamer clip where he pile drives me and I bounce up. Always able to do it with Tommy, and I've tried it with some other people that I wasn't able to do it with. And Tommy always says it's just his fat ass hitting the mat. So far, I can't prove him wrong.
We had D'Lo Brown on the show was it last year, Manny? It was
yes, right before football season last year.
Yeah. So we had him on the show last year, and we brought up the new crop of superstars to him, and he said that the superstar that reminds him most of himself is Angelo Dawkins. So I want to know, is there anybody that you see shades of yourself in currently, on TV?
Besides kind of everybody, if you think about it, but anybody specific?
Well, I mean, what comes to mind, I think her name is Kaylani.
Kaylani.
Because she does RVD moves, and I heard her do an interview, or at least part of it, on social media, where she said that she kind of considers herself a cross, I think, between me and Trinity. And Trinity does my moves, my split-legged moonsault. So probably she reminds me the most, because people compare her to me.
Yeah.
It's, and say that's shades of Rob Van Dam. I don't know who else is out there necessarily doing it to that level, but otherwise, like you said, everybody.
I think she recreated one of your pictures before.
Yeah, like, I was about to say, the split.
Right, yeah. Yep, that's true too. The Van Damme lift.
Yep.
Still do that or no?
Well, you know what? I actually never did that to work out. It was always just a photo op.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That seems like a crazy workout to even like set up, and then now you got to do all like what's a rep when
right. Yeah. So when I was a teenager wanting to be a wrestler, me and my best friend Dango, we used to go to the Y Center and work out all the time. And this was while we were kickboxing. Hadn't been trained yet, so we're probably 16. And I used to set the benches across in the gym, and I would jump up like high as I could and land in a split, boom, and across the benches and try to balance and not fall on my face. And one of the guys said, "Why are you doing that? I mean, I'd understand if there's a reason for it, but you're going to blow your knees out. At your age, your knees are going to hurt the rest of your life." And I was like, and he was like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And I was like, if there was a reason for it. And so then I started just grabbing the dumbbell, and I tried doing like tricep extensions, and I was like, this is just a photo. This isn't a way to do this. And so since then, it was always just, I got an idea, and I would do it right then.
The pain I felt from you just describing that just now, jumping up and landing in a split.
Listen, I skip leg days for a reason. Well, my legs are big enough to where I don't really necessarily need leg day, but if I was trying to do something like that, I would never do leg day ever again. I don't think it would be possible. My knees would.
I would recommend working your way up to it if you ever do try.
I'm gonna try. Listen, by the time I hit 30, I'm gonna try to see if I can do one split. Just maybe for my 30th birthday, I'll do the Van Damme lift.
You gonna do the pose?
Yeah.
So you mentioned just now that you and your friend were kickboxing. That is something I wanted to bring up also. Exactly how many? I don't even know what to call it. Like
martial arts.
Yeah. How many different styles of martial arts do you know?
A little bit of quite a lot, but not a lot of any one particular art. I never studied like one art all the way through to get my black belt. The closest was Kaju Kenbo, which has 5 arts in it. Kaju Kenbo was karate, judo, kenpo, boxing, and jiu-jitsu. And when I lived in Savannah, I used to go to the classes, and Sifu Katani was super cool. And he let me, he told me if I went through, but I had to learn all these katas and forms, choreographed stuff to go through. But he told me that he would put me through to get my black belt. And he went through the trouble of like recording himself, stepping through all the katas and everything, for me. But when I watched it on TV, it felt backwards. And I was like, wait, which way? It was so confusing. But I got into kickboxing. Even before that, I was a fan. I watched Chop Socky Theater and stuff, and I would run up trees and do backflips because of that. But when me and Dango, there was actually 4 of us in school, we used to wrestle at one of the kids' houses every Monday night. Call it the Robert Dome. When his mom would go to bingo and his dad was usually sleeping or working, we'd throw all the cushions from the couches, on the floor, make our arena. And then we found out this dude in town in Battle Creek had an actual ring in his yard. So we had to go meet him, knock on his door. And this is Kit Likens. He's also a promoter, and he runs shows. And he's like, "You guys do what?" And we said, "Yeah, man, we're going to be wrestlers." And he's like, "Can you do that in front of people?" And so you might have seen him on my A&E documentary. I'm glad he made it on there. But yeah, he basically said, if you show up with our workouts and go through our stretches, again, stretching, and drills and sparring, then the wrestlers can have the ring afterwards when everyone else goes home. And so we got into it through that. And then I found out I was good at kickboxing. And so I was doing both of them for a while. And then when Kit, after that, Kit kind of disappeared for a while from the scene. And then I went to the dojos that were in Battle Creek, which wasn't much. There was 3 places back then that you could learn Tung Sudo at the Kellogg Community College, which I only went to a couple of lessons there with a friend of mine that would go every week, and he would teach me a lot of whatever. And Todd Tadamy's Taekwondo, Gene Smith again would bring me there, whatever. And there was a Battle Creek Budokan, which had 3 different styles in it: karate, Kendo, and Yoshikai. And I started there with like a coupon from a coupon book that used to be popular back then. My mom had for like 2 free weeks or something. And I got over with the guys, and they would let me come in, and what ended up being my thing was always sparring. Like they wanted extra bodies in there and I always wanted to be one of those extra bodies. So without going through like the different belts and even owning a specific art, I spent a lot of time just doing the kickboxing and finding out not only could I take a hard punch, but I was knocking everybody else out, and adults and kids that were supposed to be really experienced and really good. And so I thought, man, I started schooling with the Sheik, and I was going to be in a tough man contest that was coming up. And I was afraid if the Sheik found out, he'd be really mad, because it was a really onerous contract that says you don't do anything without mentioning him once he puts his time into you. And I did the Kalamazoo Tough Man contest of 1990, just turned 19 years old. And anyway, made it to the main event, took runner up, got a trophy. I think it was $100. It was $1,000 for the first place. I think I got 100 or.
Damn, what a fall off. You would think at least 500. Right?
Yeah, that's weird. I can't remember now, because that's usually something I have on the tip of my tongue. Like, it's a memory that I usually doesn't slip my brain. But anyway, so it was after I got into wrestling years later that I actually started studying Kaju Kenbo in Savannah. But the other stuff was before.
So I feel like, from some of these stories that you've told, like everything that you've learned or started training in was to be better as a wrestler. Like you said, you were taking stretching classes, you were trying to get jacked up, get 100 pounds. You were into wrestling. Now you're doing different martial arts. So were all of those with the plan of being a better wrestler at the end of the day?
All of them. Yep. Absolutely. I was determined, I think all 4 of us really were. And then my best friend Dango, like he came into the business, but then a couple of times he had to dip out for family a couple of times and stuff. Otherwise, you would definitely have heard of him. He'd be in the Hall of Fame with me, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask if you ever thought about doing like UFC also, but you kind of just told us why you wouldn't have, you know what I'm saying? Because you dibbled and dabbled in the martial arts, but you never went all the way. You know what I'm saying?
But also the undeniable reason is that it wasn't even a thing.
Yeah,
it wasn't around yet.
Until
it wasn't
like 96 or something like that, around that time.
Yeah, and even kickboxing, a lot of people didn't know what that was. There was like 2 groups, ISKA and something else that I think ESPN would show, and like people weren't that exposed to it. Sometimes when I tell people, yeah, we're having a kickboxing show, at the Kodiak Lounge, people would be like, "What's kickboxing?" Like, it was like that. That's how early that was. And then
you might have been a little too ahead of your time with all of your interests that you had.
I usually am. And I actually, when Kid disappeared, I went around to those same venues that he had run. And when I was like, I think 18, was talking to them about running shows myself with Kid's Ring and trying to set that up when I was a kid, not knowing what I was doing. But I just wanted the show to keep going. I wanted to do this,
Yeah.
I didn't want to be chilling, resting, waiting on Kid while he's down in Kentucky doing whatever.
Somebody talk to me nice.
Everything I do, I don't do. I do the other thing. Everything y'all go across the street that way, I'm going up.
TTMN.
Yeah, Rob, first off, thank you for giving us so much of your time. We really appreciate it. Before we let you go, there's one segment that we do here with all of our guests. It's called Talk to Me Nice. We got 5 quick questions that we need you to answer. So let's get to it, shall we?
All right, I'll try and make it short. I'm not good at that, but
if not, it's fine. I love just talking to you.
Listen, you're absolutely killing this. You're doing great.
Let's go.
First question is, who is your dream blunt rotation? So I guess it's you and 3 or 4 other guests. Who are you passing that L to?
Snoop Dogg, Willie Nelson. I think maybe I'll put not Ludacris. What's his name? this dude I smoked with in New Orleans.
Currency?
What is it?
Currency?
Oh man, this guy. Oh man, I got the song in my head, but I'm not gonna sing it. I'm gonna put Willie Nelson, Snoop Dogg, Godfather, and
we've heard about the Godfather.
throw Sabu in there too.
I feel like, I don't know if you have or haven't, but I feel like you and the Godfather have definitely shared an L before.
You're correct. I haven't with Snoop Dogg or Willie, so that would be cool. And there's other ones if I thought longer. But yeah, when I met Godfather, it was like a blind date because everybody kept saying, "You haven't met him yet? Oh my God, you guys will get along so much. Man, he loves weed too." And one time we were at the arena together with SmackDown and Raw or something. It felt like a blind date. Like, well, hey, good to finally meet you. We went out in the car and burned it up and said, yeah, they were right. I do dig this dude.
It would have sucked like if you have all that pressure, like now I have to like this guy.
Right.
And you don't even know. Like
maybe put Be Real in there too, man. He's fun to smoke with.
Oh, Be Real.
Shouts to Be Real. Oh, well, this isn't one of the questions, but I want to know who has some trash weed. Like you was probably hyped, like, oh man, I'm low on bud, I don't got nothing. Thank you, sir, for offering me this gift, and then you smoke it and it's trash.
The fans.
I was gonna assume it's just gonna be some fan like, oh, I brought this weed, and then they've never smoked before. It's a bag of oregano, and you're sitting there.
Yeah, that happens sometimes, and or sometimes they'll even roll it, and it's such a unsmokable, ugly attempt for a doobie. But I don't want to hurt their feelings, And I'm just like, thanks, bro. Yes, you got time? I'll smoke it with you. No, I'm not gonna have time for that.
Next time, fans, if you see RVD and you want to smoke with him, just give him the money for the weed instead. He'll get the
or top shelf pre-roll.
There you go. Listen, a lot of celebrities, they have fast food meal deals. You have Meg Thee Stallion, Travis Scott, T-Pain. I work at a company called Stickies. It's New York based. I do the media for them. What would be your ideal RVD meal? Like if you had to create your own meal that people can go out and buy because they want to have a meal like RVD.
Breakfast is my favorite meal. It's not only the most important meal of the day, but it's also, I guess now that I think about it, I'm from the Cereal City, Kellogg's, Battle Creek, of course.
Oh,
breakfast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's pre-wrap some protein porridge. We're going to put some egg whites in the microwave till they solidify, and then when it comes out, we're going to put some blueberries on there and some oatmeal and some cinnamon and some peanut butter powder and maybe a little more protein, like collagen protein on it, some bananas, throw it back in the microwave for a minute and a half. Boom, eat that.
Protein porridge.
Yes.
I gotta try that, even though I'm a little wary of the eggs and the fruits, because I've never really mixed everything like that. I usually do.
You won't even notice.
I'm gonna figure it out.
You won't even notice what you mix it all up. Katie invented that, by the way.
Oh,
you only
know.
When I met her. I mean, I added a couple things to it, but yeah, we used to eat that every single day, and now like I will go weeks where every day in a row, if I'm home, I make protein pancakes and I pour pretty much the same stuff into the mix there too.
Wow.
Coconut oil, don't forget that.
Coconut oil.
Yes, sir.
Coconut oil is essential. Very, very essential. I'm glad you said that. My last question: if you can go back and redo anything in your career, you get the chance to redo whatever it is. What is it that you redo? If you redo anything.
What I'm thinking is I'm in Hanging Rock, Ohio. I'm driving careless because I was so careless back then. I never even looked at the speedometer. It was always just about getting to the next town as fast as I could. And that during that time, I was so careless. Sabu's next to me, and we see the lights go on behind us. Right. So I looked down. Oh, fuck. He said, I'm going 80 or whatever. whatever it was, I pulled over and I go, shit. And I didn't want to make any sudden moves where he says, we could see through the back of the window that you were reaching for something. So I just go, Sabu. I said, spray the Ozium. And he grabbed, because there was a jar of Ozium, like right there in the center console. But I was trying to, look like I was just like, hand on the steering wheel, I'm ready for you, sir. And Sabu grabbed the Ozium and he goes, that's all he did.
Oh my god!
Of course, the cop comes up after saying, "You always ride around with your shirt off. Why does the car smell like weed?" I wish I would have grabbed. This is what I would have done different. I would have grabbed that Ozium inconspicuously and went. And then when the cop said, "Why does it smell like air freshener?" I would have said, "Sabu farted."
One play Ozium Sabu. Come on, man.
Rookie mistake. Can't be doing that.
But that's
I was afraid. We were both. I mean, I understand why he did it. He didn't want it to smell suspicious like air freshener, but fuck that.
Yeah, rather safe than sorry.
Yeah.
But that's how I know the boat was fired, because my son was so fried. He said, "Cool."
I mean, we weren't smoking it. It was wrapped in a plastic bag in the center console, which also was careless. Yeah. But for eternity, there's certain fans, like in their mind, they're always just gonna go, stupid Robin Sabu smoking while they were driving. Otherwise, the ECW wouldn't have went down. That's not even how it happened.
Yeah. Everybody creates their own narrative that makes it more entertaining than what actually happened.
It was wrapped up and it was still that potent. It was still
Damn. That's the kind of shit I want the fans to give me. We call it loud.
KP, make that a clip, please.
Yeah. We love that. That's how we rate our shows, by the way. When we do like a live pay-per-view reaction, it's Reggie, mid, or loud. That's the only three indicators of what a good show is.
Nice.
Man, Rob, Mr. Van Dam, Mr. Monday Night. I don't know what to call you, man, but I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your time with us. Manny, I think you did a great job. Do you want to pitch our ideas to Rob before he gets out of here?
Listen, we have so many. We know that you said you wanted to be versatile. If you want to make a sneaker, maybe collab with Adidas. Sometimes they do weed-related sneaker collabs. You can do something like that. Maybe even the Dragon, because you used to do the yin and yang, type of designs. And then we would call it the RVDitas. that would be the name of the collaboration. A nice Stan Smith Adidas model, maybe. That's something. These are just for you. We don't want any credit. We just send a pair our way or something like that.
Yeah, we just spitballing, you know what I'm saying? Or if you're not a fan of Adidas, we got RVD Bach, you know what I'm saying? Hey, man, onlywrestlers.com, you guys. Make sure y'all go and subscribe.
Oh, can I mention something really quick? This is important. As an incentive to get people to sign up at onlywrestlers.com, we have several. One of them, if you're a wrestler, which, even though it's called Only Wrestlers, you don't have to be a wrestler. Some of our friends that are comedians or actors or musicians, they're welcome to open up an account too. But the fans, everybody that signs up until the end of September gets 30 days free, so you won't get charged. So you can check it out and try it. But the wrestlers, the content creators, are going to get compensated. I got the money guy to take care of them while the fans get it for free. Wow. Also, every content creator that recommends another one, they get a referral, 5% of everything that other guy does or girl for 12 months. And same thing with the users. So if you follow Chris Masters, and then you got a buddy that loves Brian Cage, you say, hey, sign up to Only Wrestlers, use my referral code, boom. It's a chance for wrestlers and even fans to make some money off of this. Like I said, it's a platform for everyone to handle like their own business, and it's meant to be a win-win for everybody. So hopefully everyone sees it that way.
Listen, everybody, if you're listening right now, make sure you sign up. Try that free trial. There's already a good amount of wrestlers on there. Like RVD said, they're rolling out some more, so definitely tap into that. We gotta make this happen. We gotta make this brand grow. I can't wait to see what it's like. Listen, WrestleMania is in Las Vegas. We plan on doing a show over there. We plan on attending.
420. Okay, so I hear you.
We're gonna be around. Listen,
me too.
I might, even waive my no weed clause and just, see what happens. But
they say you gotta when RVD hands it to you.
Exactly. So in Vegas, maybe we link up, do the only wrestlers and Black Announce Table, do a great event or something like that over there. If you need anything from us, let us know. We're fans, so we're just gonna do it anyways. So just
for love, just because you're RVD.
Exactly.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys, man. Enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for helping me get the word out. I gotta eat something and get ready to go 100%. See Kill Tony.
Do your thing, man. Thank you so much.
Enjoy that.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.